Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to be having a conversation about the CENG project report. The CENG project is a project undertaken by first years in the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology during their first long vacation. Engineering in itself exists to solve problems, so enabling students the chance to go into their community, identify and solve some problems, we can elevate their thinking to that regard. Today, we are going to be presenting some keynotes you should consider when you are writing or preparing your project report. Now, as with any form of communication, a good technical communication should have some important features that would make the communication effective and bring together some level of understanding. The first thing you would need to consider is clarity. And what I mean by clarity is you should get rid of any form of ambiguity within your report. You do not want to use words that would bring about some form of double meaning or would lead to some level of misunderstanding. Everything you say should mean exactly as you want it. You don't say things or you don't use words where you don't fully understand, or you don't say things that could otherwise be misinterpreted wrongly. If you do use symbols, you should fully define them. And usually in engineering, you come across some level of numerical data that becomes otherwise tiring to gain insights from the bulk of the data. A solution to that is to present your numerical data in the form of figures and tables. This makes it easier to understand and to visualize trends within your data. So, say you have some data on some responses taken from the members in your community. Instead of writing the number of people that responded, their response, maybe you graded it on a scale from 1 to 5 in terms of how well they like something or how they feel about something, instead of just writing it in that format with the number, their response, stuff like that. If you had, let's say, a bar chart, right, you could employ a pie chart, any form of figure or table that would make your data easier to understand and easier to gain insights from. That is what you should be looking at. The second element we would like to consider is your report should be concise. This is a technical report or a technical communication that you are presenting, right? And it goes to serve a purpose, right? It brings to light some problem and some possible solution. We do not want to get lost in the bulk of irrelevant data. And usually, when it comes to stuff like this, we are deluded into thinking that the more or the lengthier your report is, the better it is, or the more likely you are to get more marks. But we do not want to get lost in irrelevant data. That goes to hurt your marks in the end, because when you are reading a technical report or when you are presenting a technical report, it goes to serve a purpose. If your reader or whoever is at the other end of the communication gets lost in the process and can't follow along with what you are saying or can't fully grasp the problem and the solution, then you are not really communicating effectively. So you should try as much as possible to omit irrelevant data. You do not want to use things that otherwise don't add to your report. You should try to answer some questions like who, what, why, where, and how. So, say you are proposing that we use some bamboo bridge across some gutter in your community, right? You should answer the question, why are we choosing bamboo over any conventional means available? How are we going to do this? Right? What exactly are we doing? Who said this, or what kind of, where did you get that data that suggested that bamboo would be a good source for whatever problem you are tackling, right? But try as much as possible not to oversimplify. Don't understate the problem and don't overstate it. Now, for the appropriate writing style, where we usually have an active versus passive voice kind of debate. Generally, when you write your report in a passive voice, it gives the feeling of reproducibility, in the sense that saying stuff or saying or presenting your information in a format that is not really centered on you, but centered on the general idea or the problem or proposed solution, gives whoever is reading the sense that this is a problem and this is a solution, as opposed to an active voice where it usually feels like this is what you are doing or what the writer is doing. Generally, in engineering, we want a sense of reproducibility where we can say that, okay, this problem can be linked to this solution, right? This was how it was presented, and this is the solution. So, say you are saying you are producing some chemical or you are producing some solution where you say two parts of this, one part of this, stuff like that. Instead of saying it or personalizing it where it feels like this is what you are doing, writing it in a passive voice gives a sense that this is what the reader gives the sense that me as the reader, I can follow along or I can reproduce whatever work you have. Again, use words to convey the appropriate meaning. Do not use words you do not fully understand. Try to keep the vocabulary simple, and don't don't get lost in trying to overly impress. Right? That is not a good format to follow. Avoid technical jargon, and usually with stuff like this, we think that it's the lecturers in our department that are going to read the report, so it doesn't it's of no consequence if I use some jargon that is usually understood within my field. But then sometimes your report goes out of the scope of your field to other engineers in different fields that would maybe like to understand what you are doing. So try as much as possible to avoid technical jargon. If you do use them, explain the jargons, right? Define them. So anything that you use. So let's say you used PE in your report, where PE should stand for polyethylene. Define it so that anywhere the reader sees PE, the reader should understand that you are talking about polyethylene, right? And the most important thing you would need for your report is you need to guide your reader. Think of it as you are taking your reader on a journey, right? You should first of all inform your reader where you plan to take them. You can't just get up and carry someone and send the person anywhere. You need to inform the person, oh, I want to take you to this place or I want to take you to that place. And that's what you would do in your introduction, right? You give the reader a general idea of what you plan to do within your report. So you tell them what you plan to tell them. Then you actually get to the place and you do what you wanted to do or the reason why you came to that place. So when you get the main text, your main problem, your main solution, right? This is where you should hammer on it. You keep it um concise. You go straight to the point and you tell them the general or the whole idea of whatever problem or proposed solution you have. Then after everything, right, you give them something to take away, something to take back. And this usually helps because when you have a bulky report, you tend to forget some details, or you tend to get lost in some details. So when you have a conclusion that summarizes the general idea of the report that was just produced, it gives the reader something to think about, or it leaves some resonating idea in the reader's mind. And this is what you need for a good technical communication and for your CENG project report. Thank you for joining. Remember to like and subscribe. Leave in the comments what kind of a video you would like us to do next and what you would like us to tackle next.